Hello, my dear friends. Do you ever feel stuck when you try to speak English? Like your brain is working in your first language, and then you have to translate everything? It's like trying to run a race with your shoelaces tied together, isn't it? But what if I told you there's a way to untie those laces, to make your English flow more naturally, directly from your thoughts? In today's session, we are going to talk about 5 phrases that help you think in English. You will hear stories, examples, and useful vocabulary. So, let's get started. 1. I need to figure out. This phrase is a powerful tool because it makes you active. It pushes you to solve a problem or understand something in English, instead of thinking, how do I say this in English? You're now thinking, how can I figure this out using English? Let me tell you a story. I once had a student, Maria, who was very good at grammar, but struggled to speak spontaneously. When I introduced her to, I need to figure out, something changed. Before, if she wanted to say, I don't know the answer, she would mentally translate it from her native language. But when she started using, I need to figure out, her mind shifted. One day, she was trying to explain a complex task at work. Instead of getting stuck, she paused, then said, I need to figure out how to explain this more simply. She wasn't translating. She was thinking in English to find a solution. Think about it this way. When you're learning to ride a bicycle, you don't translate the instructions for balancing. You just do it. I need to figure out is like that. It's an action prompt for your brain. Here's how you can use it. When you don't understand something, I need to figure out what this word means. Instead of reaching for a translation dictionary right away, try to understand it from context first, or describe what you don't know in English. When you have a problem to solve, I need to figure out how to get to the train station. Now you're thinking about directions in English, perhaps looking at a map and naming landmarks. When you're trying to remember something, I need to figure out that person's name. You're actively searching your English vocabulary for the answer. This phrase helps you activate your existing English knowledge and build new connections within the language itself. It's like turning on a light in a dark room. You start to see all the English words and phrases you already have. 2. What's the best way to say? This phrase is wonderful because it focuses on finding the most effective way to communicate, rather than just any way. It encourages you to explore different options within English. It's about refinement and precision. Imagine you're trying to describe a beautiful sunset. You could say, the sky was orange. That's okay, but is it the best way? If you ask yourself, what's the best way to say the sky was orange? You might think of words like vibrant, fiery, golden, or A kaleidoscope of colors. Let me tell you about another student, Kenji. Kenji was always worried about making mistakes. He would often stop speaking if he couldn't find the perfect word. But when he started asking himself, "What's the best way to say?" he became more adventurous. He realized that it wasn't about being perfect from the start, but about improving his expression. Once, he was trying to describe a difficult situation at work. He started with, "It was bad." Then he paused and asked himself, "What's the best way to say it was bad?" He thought for a moment and then continued, "It was quite challenging, and we faced several unexpected obstacles." He didn't just translate bad. He thought about the nuance in English. This phrase encourages you to think about synonyms, antonyms, and different grammatical structures that can convey your message more accurately and powerfully. It's about moving beyond basic vocabulary to more sophisticated expression. Consider these scenarios. When you want to be polite, what's the best way to say no politely? This leads you to phrases like, "I appreciate the offer, but," or, "Unfortunately, I won't be able to." When you want to describe emotions, what's the best way to say "I'm happy"? This might lead you to, "I'm ecstatic," "I'm delighted," or "I'm over the moon." When you're writing an email, what's the best way to open this email professionally? You'll consider options like, "Dear Mr. Ms." or "To whom it may concern." Using this phrase helps you deepen your understanding of English vocabulary and phrasing, making your communication richer and more natural. It's like having a built-in thesaurus in your mind. 3. Let me rephrase that. This phrase is a sign of confidence and a commitment to clarity. It tells your listener and yourself that you're actively working to make your message understood. It's a wonderful way to correct yourself in English without getting flustered or switching back to your first language. I often see students get flustered when they make a mistake. They might stop speaking or apologize profusely. But imagine if, instead, they said, "Let me rephrase that." It changes everything. It shows that you are in control, that you are learning, and that you are dedicated to clear communication. Let me tell you about a student named David. David used to get very shy if he stumbled over his words. He would blush and sometimes just give up. We worked on, "Let me rephrase that." The first few times, he said it quietly, but soon it became a natural part of his speaking. Once, during a presentation, he accidentally used the wrong verb tense. Instead of panicking, he smoothly said, "Oh, let me rephrase that. What I meant to say was, the project will be completed next week, not was completed." The audience barely noticed the initial slip because he corrected himself so confidently in English. This phrase is about self-correction and active listening to your own speech. It's about having the courage to try again, better. It's a powerful tool for developing fluency because it keeps you in the English frame of mind, even when you make a small error. Use this phrase when you feel you haven't been clear. I think I wasn't clear. Let me rephrase that. You've used the wrong word or grammar. That's not quite right. Let me rephrase that. You want to simplify a complex idea. Let me rephrase that in simpler terms. Let me rephrase that. Gives you permission to experiment and refine your thoughts in real time, all within the English language. It's like having a second chance to express yourself perfectly. 4. How would a native speaker say this? This is a fantastic phrase because it forces you to think about natural, idiomatic English. It moves you beyond direct translation and into the nuances of how English speakers truly communicate. It's about absorbing the culture of the language, not just the rules. Often, learners can form grammatically correct sentences that still sound a little unnatural. This is where, how would a native speaker say this, comes in. It encourages you to listen more, read more, and pay attention to common expressions and turns of phrase. I remember teaching a class where students were learning about giving advice. One student, Liam, wanted to tell someone to be careful. He said, "You must to be careful." Grammatically, it's close, but it's not what a native speaker would typically say. I asked him, "Liam, how would a native speaker say, 'Be careful'?" He thought for a moment, then said, "Maybe, 'watch out,' or 'be careful' with emphasis." Yes, he started to think about the natural flow and common expressions. This phrase trains your brain to look for authentic English patterns and move away from literal translations. It makes you a more attentive listener and reader, constantly searching for how English is really spoken. Practice with these thoughts. When you're trying to express agreement, instead of just yes, how would a native speaker say it? Absolutely. Exactly. For sure. You bet. When you're talking about feelings, instead of "I am very sad," how would a native speaker express that? "I'm feeling down. I'm heartbroken. It's a tough day." When you want to interrupt politely, instead of "I want to say something," how would a native speaker say it? "Excuse me, may I just add something?" Or, "Sorry to interrupt, but..." Asking, how would a native speaker say this? Helps you internalize the rhythm and natural expressions of English, making your speech sound far more authentic and fluent. It's like putting on clothes that fit you perfectly. 5. Let me talk this out. This phrase is about practicing your English aloud, even if it's just to yourself. It's about giving your thoughts a voice in English, strengthening the connection between your ideas and the English words that express them. It's a powerful way to build confidence and fluency. Many learners feel they need a partner to practice speaking. While that's great, you don't always need one. Let me talk this out encourages you to use English as a tool for thinking and processing information. Even when you're alone, I had a student, Sophia, who was a brilliant writer in English, but she was very hesitant to speak. She often said she didn't have anyone to practice with. I suggested, when you're thinking about something, just say, "Let me talk this out," and try to express your thoughts aloud in English. At first, she felt silly, but slowly, she started narrating her day, explaining problems to herself, or even just describing objects around her. One day, she told me, "I was trying to decide what to cook for dinner, and I just started saying, 'Okay, let me talk this out. I have chicken, and I have some vegetables. Should I make a stir fry or bake it?'" She was thinking and planning her meal in English. This phrase helps you bridge the gap between thinking in your first language and speaking in English. It makes English a more active part of your daily mental process. Try using it in these situations. When you're making a decision, let me talk this out. Should I go to the gym or read a book? When you're trying to understand something new, let me talk this out. So, if I understand correctly, this new rule means. When you're preparing for a conversation or presentation, let me talk this out. First, I'll introduce myself, then I'll explain the main points. Let me talk this out empowers you to use English as a functional tool for daily thought, building muscle memory for speaking, and making the language a natural extension of your mind. It's like having a constant English conversation with yourself. Always improving. Learning to think in English is not just about knowing words. It's about changing the way your brain processes information. It's about setting your mind free to explore and express itself directly in this beautiful language. Each time you use these phrases, you're building a stronger bridge between your thoughts and your English words. You are unlocking a new level of connection, not just with the language, but with the vast world of ideas and people that English opens up. Never forget that every single step you take, no matter how small, is a victory. Keep going, keep trying, and keep believing in yourself. The ability to express your deepest emotions and cleverest thoughts in English is within your reach, and it will connect you to so many more hearts and minds. If you found this helpful, please like and share it with someone who might also benefit.